Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Apurva Kumar and going to talk about stress and anxiety during this lockdown period. Hope am I audible? And if anyone have suggestion for language, just let me know by messaging. I can speak in Hindi, Gujarati, and English. So do help me, help myself to use specific language that can help you understand. So we can start talking about the today's topic dealing with stress. COVID-19 pandemic has really affected not only our physical health but has impacted our minds. For many, uh, this phase is very stressful, and particularly with students, there are certain challenges that this situation has created. So my talk will be focusing on understanding stress, its symptoms, and how you can utilize certain strategies to deal with stress, and understanding when you need professional help. So the first we'll talk about stress. A stress is a normal body response or a normal feeling of not able to cope with the demands or specific situation. So if we consider the present situation, the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown, the situation is stressful. So it normally will create stress. Stress has two parts: positive stress and negative stress. Positive stress acts as a motivator. It is very useful and important. You cannot avoid stress. Stress is very important part of life. So positive stress, you are motivated to face the situation. You manage the stress so that you can overcome the threat or challenges or the demands that life has created. Negative stress create negative consequences in life. When stress is not managed, when stress is not responded with positive strategies, it becomes chronic. And many times sustained stress lead to anxiety, and anxiety is fear. There are different types of fear: fear of unknown, fear of specific situation, fear of having any harm to our life, or fear without any specific reasons. Or you may have excessive worry, and when this anxiety prolonged for more than 6 months, it becomes illness or disorder which requires professional help. So stress is a normal reaction to the demands of any situation or events. When stress is not managed, when stress is sustained for longer time, it turns into anxiety. So in anxiety is a reaction to the stressful situation. So today we will learn how what are the signs and symptoms of stress and anxiety so that we can take proactive actions to manage our stress and anxiety. So stress and anxiety affect at four levels. The first is physiological level. Second, it affects our emotion and cognitive. So we have behavioral and emotional level. The third is psychological level. So first we'll talk about physiological symptoms and signs. Physiological symptoms and signs include loss of appetite or changes in appetite. Either you eat more or you eat less, or there is a disturbance in eating habits. That is the first indication of being stressed or uh, under anxiety. The second is in difficulties in sleep related difficulties. Either you sleep more or you sleep less, or you are having difficulties while sleeping, or maybe interrupted sleep. The third symptom that you can identify is fatigue. The fourth symptom is any kind of pain. Normally, headache is a normal reaction that we found. Headache, body pain, back pain. So these are all the basic physiological reactions, and in certain cases, particularly where there is a lot of anxiety, the three more symptoms are visible or people experience is that palpitation or sweatness. You will sweat when you are anxious, and you will your heartbeats will run very fast. So there is a breathlessness also. So these are all physiological signs and symptoms that you can identify and you can work on it. And mostly these symptoms are temporary. If these symptoms sustain for a longer duration, it requires urgent attention. Second part is cognitive level or psychological level symptoms. So at cognitive level, person is not able to concentrate, person is not able to focus on one particular task. Racing thoughts, or we can say unwanted thoughts, thoughts on which you are not able to have control over it. So these are all, the cognitive level symptoms. The fourth level is psychological symptoms. So psychological symptoms, you will be having a feeling of irritability. You will be irritated very very fast. Anger, you don't know, but you feel very angry. You are not able to control your anger. Hopelessness, you feel hopeless. Worthlessness, there is a feeling of void. You don't know what is happening, but you feel that something is not right. You are not able to name your feelings at times. So these are all. So we have talked about physiological signs and symptoms, cognitive level signs and symptoms, and psychological level signs and symptoms. One more, two more symptoms which is very much obvious in particular this situation is hypervigilance. You become cautious. So if you are having fear, you will think that you are going to contract or you have contracted coronavirus. Too much of, uh, being too much of careful. It is very important to take care, of course, and in this situation it is very important to wash hands repeatedly, at least as much as possible. You must wash hands, which is if it is normal in this situation. It is also very important to be vigilant and cautious. So but when you are unable to control, and when you cross the line, it becomes a problem and you need to deal with that. So these are all the signs and symptoms of stress and anxiety. Now we'll briefly talk about strategies that you can use in your daily routine that can help you manage your stress and anxiety. And after this, will you can ask questions, and I will be happy to answer your questions, and you can also share some of the strategies that you have already utilized and you are finding very helpful, and some strategies that you tried to utilize but you could not. So we can also discuss best practices, the strategies that worked and the strategies that have not worked, and we can have discussion over Facebook. So the first important strategy, specifically in this point of time, is avoid or limit yourself from news and social media. So we all know that there are a lot of fake news and a lot of overload of information that naturally lead to stress and anxiety, panic and fear. So in order to manage excessive load of stress, it is very important to focus only on reliable sources of information, limit our exposure to social media, which is circulating a lot of rumors about the situation. So reliable sources include the website of Government of India, ICMR, Indian Medical Research Council, ICMR, India. Sorry, I'm actually confusing the name. So it is ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. So it has a website. It has a latest update on COVID-19 situation. You can also access information from World Health Organization website, WHO website. At the same time, you can use helpline specifically created by government for this situation. So these are the reliable source of information. You can rely on the latest update and the precautions that you must take, and you can learn about those precautions from these sources. Second, use social media positively. Social media, excessive use of social media is a problem now, but there are also positive usages of social media. You can use social media to share your positive stories. You can use social media to share motivational quotes, motivational experiences. At the same time, you can use social media to play brain games, because there are so many apps available that are very helpful in managing stress. There are apps available that are helpful in managing anxiety. There are apps available which are helpful in managing depressive thoughts or depressive feelings. You can identify those applications available on social media, and you can utilize. Social media is a very good source to connect with each other, and particularly in this time, we can connect with each other through through WhatsApp or maybe through video calls, and connect with our friends, our relatives, and other people. Right now, we are using social media to exchange uh, uh, information and experiences. So this is one of the example of positive use of social media. The third important strategy is having balanced diet. Food is very important part, and food has impact not only on physical health but also mental health. So having a, a balanced diet, which includes leafy vegetable, green vegetables, balancing fruits, balancing of fruits, the adequate water or adequate juices are very important for keeping our physical and mental health fit. You can use in this, because many of the students have asked that what are the good food that help improve concentration, that help remain focused. So when you have a balanced diet, it helps you improve not only your immunity but also boost memory. It also improves concentration. So in your daily routine, include green vegetables, leafy vegetables, pulses, which has very good source of nutrients. Also have adequate water intake, or you may have fruit juices. Fruits such as watermelon, muskmelon, oranges, grapes are known to have relaxing as well as a very helpful impact on stress as well as memory. So these are all good food and diet habits which we must inculcate specifically in this time. The third important strategy include having dedicated time for study or work. So when we have a lot of time, it become stressful for us to manage time. In a regular routine, we struggle to find time, and when we have time in abundance, we have difficulty in utilizing time. So utilizing time in our favor is very important. So specifically specify or have a time slot for 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever is your capacity and whatever is the study load. You should specify time for your study. The fourth important strategy, which I would like to emphasize, is engaged in physical activity, because physical activity help reduce stress, help manage our temperaments, and it regulates our mood. So physical activity includes a walking in the home, not going outside, do some stretching exercises, having or doing meditation or doing yoga. So these exercises you can learn from online. There are many apps available, there are many websites available that teach simple exercises that you can do daily, and it's not very difficult to learn. So engage in physical activity. Importantly, you can engage in cleaning home, or you can clean at least your room and organize your desk, because it is said that chaotic environment create chaotic mind. So if your environment is not clean, environment is very chaotic, it cannot keep you calm, it cannot keep you mentally fit. So what you can do, you can spend some time daily in cleaning your room or cleaning your desk. That is very helpful. So it will also help you engage in some kind of physical activity that will also organize your thoughts, it will also organize your mind. Fifth important technique or maybe strategy is engaging in something that you love. In other way, you can engage in hobbies. There are so many hobbies that we always dreamt of, but we never actually practiced. So you can cultivate those, or you can materialize those hobbies which you always wanted to cultivate. And hobbies include writing or reading new books, maybe listening to music or singing, practicing singing. These are all few hobbies that you can utilize. Currently, when I was talking before this live session, I received one call, and the person started drawing, and he realized that he's a good painter. He did not know until he got time to spend some time for hobbies. So you can also identify your specific strength, your hobbies, and start practicing it. You will amazed to see that we have so much of potential which are unrealized. So hobbies are very important, and it also engage our minds constructively. So when you are engaged in doing something that you love very much, it will direct your mind, it will calm your mind, and it will help you become more creative. So these are all a few tips that I have said. Now I would like to know your questions or specific experiences that you would like to share. You can just write, and you can send your messages right in the message box so that I can read. So I'm going to read messages, and if there are some questions, I will certainly share. I think most of the comments are like, excellent explanation and very useful information. So thank you very much. I'm very happy that this session is very helpful. But at the same time, I also want to know your questions, specific uh, experiences that you would like to share. Should I give some time for you to think through, or should I ask some questions to you so that you can start pondering over? So let me ask you a question. So in this situation, particularly in lockdown situation, what is it that is very stressful? That is one question that you can just think. Second, what is your routine? What you are doing on a daily basis, is it helpful? If not, then are you able to incorporate the strategies that I have discussed? Do you know any other strategies that is very helpful and you want to share here? You can just note down, or you can have a pen and a notepad, and you can just start screaming. Okay, so I think I'm not having many questions from your side. So let me talk about few more strategies that are very helpful in dealing with stressful situation. In such stressful situation, the very common reaction is having negative thoughts, or maybe having fear or excessive worry. So in this situation, we usually start talking mentally negatively. So there is a negative mental talk. Studies suggest that in general we have around 10,000 thoughts in a single minute. Out of 10,000 thoughts, most of the thoughts are negative. Very very s- very uh, small portion of the thoughts are positive. Another studies also, other few studies suggest that most of the time when we talk with ourselves, we talk negative. And negative mental talk only increase our stress level. Negative mental talk only reduce our self confidence. It reduce our self esteem. Therefore, it is very important to translate our negative thought or negative mental talk into positive mental talk. So for example, most of the people and most of the students at this time think, I'm stuck at home. That is a negative thought. How you can convert into positive? You can state yourself, you can think that this is the time I have got for myself. I can spend a good time for myself. I can spend time to understand myself better. So there is an opportunity, there is a positivity that you can explore. So here you can shift your attention from negativity or negative thoughts into positive ones. So your task is identify a thought, pause, and convert into positive one. Identify what is positive in it, and 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 use that statement to yourself. So slowly, slowly, when you practice, first You change your negative thoughts into positive one. It requires practice. And once you change your thought processes, convert those thoughts into actions. For example, you are saying that this is a time to spend quality time with self, then ensure that you spend quality time with yourself. How? How you can spend quality time? The strategies that we have discussed. You can make a routine. The first task that you can do is make a routine. Plan your schedule. Plan your morning time, afternoon time, evening time, and night time. You can provide 4 slots to your routine. Morning time, what you can do? Of course, waking up at the time that you decide. If you decide to wake up at the morning at a 6 a.m., try to wake up at 6 p.m. Or if you decide to wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning, try to wake up at that time. So waking up, then doing small exercises for 20 minutes. 20-minute exercises in the morning can make a great day. And then you can clean your room, or you can clean your desk, organize your desk. So this is a morning time. You can have breakfast, uh, and you can decide your priorities of the day. So morning slot up to 12, right from you wake up till noon time, have you can dedicate specific time for specific activities. So morning time is a good time to spare some time for study as well. So do not forget to spare some time, at least 2 hours, for study or for work. Then afternoon time includes your lunch and some resting time, where you can just lie down, or you can listen to music. You can read small positive stories or motivational stories online, or you can talk with your friends. So afternoon time, you can mostly engage into rest period or resting time, or time for self-care. Evening time, again, evening time is very productive time, like morning time. So you can spend more, you can focus more on study, doing activities that is very helpful, that is very, that stimulate your intellect, or very cognitively engaging. So you can engage into playing games. There are brain games, online games available, which are very helpful in improving not only your general knowledge, but also improving your reasoning skills, your thinking ability, uh, and so you can engage into some kind of brain games. You can spare time for your study. You can spare time for your hobby. So these are 3 areas which you can spare. And then night time, again, relaxing time. You can watch a movie, you can watch a TV show, or you can just spend time with self for introspection. You can just mentally assess how you spend your day. 3 positive aspect, 3 negative aspects. Negative aspect in the sense that what you could not do, that you have already planned, and how you can ensure that you will do those activities next day. So we call it self audit, which is very important process, or sometimes we call it self introspection. So self introspection and self audit are very important activity that you can do before going to sleep. You can just audit your day. You can just talk with yourself. You can just write down your feelings. You can note down your positive experiences or experiences which were negative. So this is how you can schedule your day. So I think we have spent almost 30 minutes. If you have any questions, or you want to share any experiences, please feel free to share. You can just put into message box. If you want to share some of your concerns, if you are going through a stress or anxiety that you are not able to deal with, I will be very happy to help yourself. So you can ask your questions anonymously to the administrator, and they can let me know, and then we can find a ways to help you. So let me check the message box. If there are any questions or messages which are worth sharing, I would be happy to share that. Okay, so there are a few experiences and questions that I will quickly read. So one person has asked, I think Divya has asked, that sometimes at home it is difficult for me to control anger, and at the end I regret about getting angry. Can you help me with that? Of course, it is very important questions that you asked, and I really appreciate your courage to ask such a personal question. Anger is very important to manage. If you do not manage anger, then it has a negative consequences. So there are important four ways which you can do, and you can adapt different ways to manage anger. First of all, very important to understand that, aggression is not abnormal. Aggression, we all feel angry at times, but expression of anger is something that makes a difference. So how you manage your aggression is very important. So it's not about managing anger, but it is all about understanding aggression, the understanding the causes of it, and managing it effectively. So that will automatically will help you control your tantrum. The first is, whenever you are angry, try to avoid reacting it. Do not react immediately. When you are angry, I repeat, when you are angry, do not react immediately. Take a pause. If you are not able to take a pause, immediately go out from that situation. For example, you are angry on mother, then go out from that situation, go to your room, or go to the balcony. Distance yourself from the situation. That will help you manage your reaction. It will give you a pause to your reaction. Second, take deep breath. Breathing is very, very, very helpful. So when you are angry, go to another place. Do not remain in the place where you are getting angry. Change the place. That is first strategy. Second strategy, deep breath. Either you sit, or you can also stand and close your eyes. We usually ask you to close your eyes, because when you close your eyes, you can avoid distractions which is around. When you keep your eyes open, there are a lot of distractions, and your mind will go into that. So you will not be able to benefit deep breathing. You will not be able to focus on the problem which is causing this reaction. So close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and gradually exhale. Do this for 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, you will realize that you are not you are no more angry. So these are two very important initial strategy. The third is identifying the causal factors. What has caused you to be angry? So when you are calmed down, when your feelings are normalized, you can ask yourself, you can spend some time for introspection and identify what has caused anger. Is it necessarily required to be angry? And identifying what has happened in your body, and what has happened in your thoughts. Just note down, record your feelings and thoughts. So you will, and do it every day whenever you feel angry. So it will help you record your feelings and record your thoughts, and at the end of the day, when you read those thoughts and feelings and the causes, then you will realize that it was my conditional response, rather than the thoughtful action. So reduce those conditional reactions, convert those conditional reactions into thoughtful actions. Now decide, that I there is no need to be angry. I can manage this situation in other way. Find out positive ways to manage it and practice it. So slowly, you will be able to manage the anger situation. You will be able to manage your reactions and become more active, proactive rather than reactive. So hope this is helpful. So another questions which I would like to very quickly answer, that the Dhruvi Dave has asked that, one of the suggestion is we should do something productive. What productive things we can do in this time? So we have already discussed about, how to spend time productively. So whatever strategies that we have discussed are, strategies to become productive in the sense that, in other way and in a simpler way, uh, when we say our day is productive, when we have produced something very useful and meaningful. So how you can do something productive, something meaningful, something useful? One way is decide or set goals or decide what you want to do, which is very useful for your personal growth. So you have to identify what are the targets or what are the goals that you want to achieve. What are the activities that you want to do in a day? Remember, do not overplan, do not overschedule, do not plan too much, because you won't be able to do everything, and that will end into a guilt feeling, and that will make you, more, that will demotivate you. So set small, achievable goals. For example, I will read chapter 1, I will practice mathematics, I will write a poem or write a story, I will talk with my friend, I will clean my room. So these are all small goals which are achievable. I will wake up at the time which I have decided. Or if you want to start early rising, set a time and ensure that you you schedule your wake up time and you schedule your sleep time, and you also schedule activities between waking up and and sleeping. So when you do any activities which you have planned, when you and achieve, it is productive. So productivity can decide the activities that you have planned and the results that you have achieved or activities that you have successfully completed. So that's how we can learn to be productive. And there are other ways to be productive, but these are all some, examples that can be helpful. The third question, Dehin Bhagat has asked, is there any difference between corona stress and corona phobia? If yes, then can you explain using example? Yes, stress and phobia are different. So corona stress is a feeling of not able to cope with corona situation. So corona situation is that, the inability to protect ourselves or worry about protecting ourselves from corona virus infection. So that the situation, that condition is called stress related to corona or stress associated with corona. Now phobia is excessive fear that you will contract coronavirus, fear that you will be quarantined, fear that you will be, be disease or sick, fear that you will lose someone. So that is phobia. So phobia is excessive of fear. And when we say corona related phobia, it means the fear related to corona. I hope I have clarified difference between stress and phobia. And this stress and phobia can be addressed when you have correct information about ways of transmission, when you follow precautions, and when you engage your mind into productive activities that we have discussed earlier. You can help yourself overcome this stress and phobia. I think we have covered questions, and I really appreciate students who have really raised very meaningful questions. Hope this session was useful, and you can share your feedback here. I would be very happy to learn about the positive feedback as well as feedback to improvise this content, so that in the next phase of live session I can focus on specific strategies or specific topics, or you can suggest topics which are very important, which is not covered here, which can be covered in the sessions, in the future sessions. So thank you very much for sparing your valuable time here and asking questions and being attentive. Thank you very much, and stay happy, stay engaged, stay home. Take care.